Today on This Must Be the Place, we are going to talk the Howe. Is it Howie or Howe?
Howe.
The Howe neighborhood in the Longfellow neighborhood of Minneapolis. We're going to talk about the best sort of updates, tips, and tricks that you can do to get the best price for your house when you're listing. There's a better way to say that, I'm sure. I'm going to say that.
We'll get into the better ways to say it. We'll talk about it.
All right. And we're not going to have a guest today.
Nope.
We are going to have a little BooMTimeS.
We are going to have some BooMTimeS.
I'm going to ask you some random questions. I don't know what those are yet, but I'm going to ask them. And then we're gonna
get out of here.
Go home to our loved ones.
Yep.
It's my birthday.
Is it seriously your birthday today?
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
This must be the place. Yeah, this must be the place. Ain't no time to waste. Ain't no time to waste. So whether you in Minneapolis or St. Paul, Bloomington to Maple Grove, from the east side to the west side, down south to way up north, let me hear you say, this must
Hello,
be the
and
place.
welcome to
Yeah,
This Must Be the Place, the only Twin Cities real estate and real estate adjacent podcast where one of the hosts thinks a seller's disclosure is when his dealer gives him a heads up about stems and seeds in the bag. Ooh, that's pretty good.
It's
a little racy, but
a little racy. Marijuana is legal.
I know, it's for the old heads out there when people used to have dealers.
They don't have stems or seeds in anything anymore.
No. Nobody slummed it like we did.
The ditchweed.
The ditchweed in when you're 17. Kids will never know. Kids today won't know.
No. It used to snap, crackle, and pop like some Rice Krispies.
Oh, my God. It sure did.
Just explode in your face.
Yep. They'll never know.
Oh.
All right.
Hey. Do you hear that? You hear that?
I do hear that.
That means it's time for a new segment called Minnesota Market in a Minute, where we run down the Minnesota market in less than a minute. And we're going to steal a joke that we both like from a comedian.
A bit from a stand-up comedian.
Neither of us know.
Nope.
And Andrew here is going to count us down from 60 seconds on backwards. And we're going to talk about the overview of the Minnesota real estate market.
And occasionally he's going to point at me.
Yep.
And I am going to look at the clock running down from 1 minute, and I'm just going to say what second we're on at that point.
Yep.
And Casey's going to, it's all going to make sense.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
All right, you gonna start us off here?
Here we go. Ready and
Start at
go.
60 seconds. All right. The current mortgage rate in the Twin Cities metro area is
54.
Not correct. It's about 6.8% for a conventional loan, a little bit less for an FHA loan. Average price around the Twin Cities metro houses are going for an average of $43,000. That's not correct either. They're going for $375,000.
Wow, that's a lot more than $43.
Yes, it is, with an average of
34.
Pretty close, but it's an average of 29 days on the market. How many showings until we get a pending sale would you think in the Twin Cities metro area?
Ooh, not good. 22.
No, not 22. It's only 9 showings until we get a sold property in the Twin Cities metro area. How many homes do you think are for sale? What's the inventory looking up? It's
12 homes.
There are only 12 homes for sale in the Twin Cities, when actually, no, there are 8,733 homes for sale in the Twin Cities market. And have we exceeded our time?
We just did.
All right, and that has been Minnesota Market in a Minute. Thanks for watching.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
I thought it was good. It was good.
The minute goes much quicker in real life than I should memorize these facts so we can just not look and we're just going.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I like it.
And you could start counting us backward from like 10,000.
I know.
And then it might be more on point.
Yeah, or a million, basically.
So are we, you want to talk about neighborhoods right off the bat?
Sure.
You got a good one today.
And now, This Must Be the Place presents Neighborhood Watch.
I have a lot to talk about. You've got some
tidbits.
Cool tidbits sprinkled in as well.
Yep.
Today on Neighborhood Watch, we are going to talk about the Howe neighborhood,
which
Howe.
until today, I always called Howie.
You put the imaginary I there in between the W and the E.
I mean, English is a tricky language.
It is. It's
so
real messed up.
Technically, it should be Howe, the Howe neighborhood. Because the O is made O by the E.
The let's eat grandma of it all.
Yeah.
Let's eat, grandma. Commas are important.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I now it's good to finally know when I'm talking to clients about what neighborhood they should live in, that it's not Howie
no.
or Howe. Do you want to live over in Howe?
Yeah, you're going to lose some credibility there.
Yeah, okay.
So geographically, we're kind of right on the other side of St. Paul, on the other side of the river. We are bordered by the...
Technically, isn't all of the other side of the river right across from St. Paul? Until it's not...
Getting all philosophical here.
All right.
I don't think we're that kind of podcast. But okay, so it's in the larger, what you would call the Longfellow community. When people kind of think of the word Longfellow, they're thinking of this area, but Longfellow is an actual designated, distinguished neighborhood in Minneapolis, and this is not that. The Longfellow neighborhood is just to the north. We've got the Corcoran and Standish neighborhoods just to the west. We've got Hiawatha just to the south, and then the Mississippi River to the east. So we're kind of in that pocket east of Hiawatha, west of the river, just kind of a little bit north of the Hiawatha neighborhood, which is just north of 46th, and south of Lake Street. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna need to put up a map for all the norths and souths.
See, I know, and I get my brain works like that, so I kind of know exactly what that means. But yeah, we'll get some maps going too. But the Howe neighborhood was named. Do you know who it was named for?
Cindy Howe.
That's correct.
Cindy Lou Howe.
Cindy Lou Howe. Yes, that is her Dr. Seuss moniker, but her real name is Julia Ward Howe.
I knew it was born, three names.
Yeah. She was born in 1819 and died in 1910. Just lived a insanely long life.
That's a fruitful life.
Yeah, she was like 91 when she died. Yeah. She was an American author and poet. She was a slavery abolitionist. She was a social activist for women's suffrage. She composed the Battle Hymn of the Republic, which I have heard of, but I couldn't sing.
I asked you to sing it
sing
right
a note of it. Nope.
Do you know how it starts?
It's like a rap battle, right?
I think Lin-Manuel. Yeah, I think it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, it's like that, right? She was big into Lin-Manuel Miranda style operatic rap. She not only was an advocate for all those things.
Now I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm gonna have to look.
Yeah, you can look it up while we're talking. It's she in 1870 she issued what's called an appeal to womanhood throughout the world. It was basically like a written statement that it was a pacifist reaction to bloodshed going on around the world, aka the Civil War, the Franco-Prussian War. It later became known as the Mother's Day Proclamation.
And that's why we have Mother's Day?
And that's why we have Mother's Day, man.
That's pretty cool.
Yes, because of...
I thought it was because of Hallmark gift cards and them wanting to sell stuff.
Well, they are certainly
that's why we have Father's Day.
Taking full advantage of that. But no, this proclamation tied her to the feminist conviction that women had a responsibility to shape their societies at the political level, which was radically unpopular.
Some parts of the country it still is.
Yeah, well, and so much so that her dumbass husband, Samuel Howe, was at the time a noted progressive.
I knew
Go
it
ahead.
was this, dude. My eyes have seen the coming of the glory of
that's the Battle Hymn of the Republic?
Yeah, we used to make like fake songs about that. There was like
some Jingle Bells, Batman Smells kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So she wrote that. And her husband, Samuel Howe, was considered progressive at the time, but he was in staunch opposition to all of the stuff that his wife was doing because he thought that women needed to be in the house, cooking, cleaning, having babies. Anyway, so that's how the Howe neighborhood got their name. She didn't spend a significant amount of time, I don't think, in Minnesota at all.
They just were like, she's a cool
They were
chick.
just like, she's great.
Yeah.
She doesn't get enough recognition. So we're going to name this cool neighborhood after her.
Cool.
So what are some things to do in the Howe neighborhood? I go there all the time, so I'll let you start.
Well, we have discussed the Riverview.
We have discussed
before.
the Riverview Theater. But it deserves mention again.
Yeah, it's a great movie theater.
Yep. In Howe.
In Howe.
On 42nd Avenue and 38th Street on the southwest corner.
Great little corner there. There's some other stuff there.
Mother Earth Gardens is on the northwest corner. The new Lynette restaurant is on the northeast corner.
Which I haven't been.
I haven't been either. I've heard good things, and I've heard you have to, if you get the right thing, you are going to be thrilled.
But if you get the wrong, okay.
If you get the wrong thing, you may be disappointed.
All right.
No shade to Lynette. I'm sure it's great.
Is it like a true diner, like a breakfasty?
No, it's not. It's by the people that did Lynn 65.
Oh, dude, I'm sold. Say no more.
Yeah.
That was my favorite.
Yeah, in Richfield.
I'm super mad that place closed.
Yes.
They had a braised lamb hummus that was the most singularly great dish.
That place was
unexpected.
Great.
Their fried chicken sandwich was, I think, the best
stellar.
in cities.
They had ramen that was stellar.
And all of their bartenders and servers had the most bizarre haircuts I've ever seen in my life.
Now I have to go.
It was a super...
If it's the same ownership, theoretically, they're going to have some of the same...
Yeah, it's like some good, just people watching, just checking out the
watch the bartender over there with the mohawk and the other one with the... what's the business in front?
Dude, there was a lot of business in front and party in back with angles and just asymmetry. But they were all super cool, very friendly. Yep. Food is delicious.
Yep, we love that place too.
I'm sold now, man. Yeah. I didn't know that. I just
same place.
Yeah, okay.
Or same owners.
Yeah, that's a must go for me.
Yep.
In fact, it's my birthday. I might go tonight.
I think you should.
My kids have basketball. They wreck my whole life.
Oh, boy.
I got my son in basketball from 5:30 to 7.
Yeah.
And my daughter from 7:30 to 9 in different parts of the city.
Yeah, you're a busy man.
It's a lot.
It really prohibits you from doing what you want on your birthday.
And from doing what I want on any day.
Yeah. Basketball.
Let alone
don't stop
birthday.
just because it's your birthday.
That's right.
We are going to check it out for sure.
Yeah. Go ahead and talk about.
Yeah,
you got something super interesting, which I would have never known about.
I do. So the Riverview Theater is there, which we can't say enough about. I see movies there all the time. Yeah. They show, as we talked about on episode 1, they show Lynx games there in the playoffs for free. Mm-hmm. I went and checked that out.
It's cheap.
Super cheap, man. You can go. A family of 4 can go see a movie, get popcorn, drink soda for like $25.
It's like mid mod. You feel like you're in some.
Yeah, it's mid-century.
Right? Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's great. Maria Sanford Middle School is in the Howe neighborhood, and I mentioned that.
Don't get yourself into trouble here, buddy.
I don't understand.
You can't talk about schools.
I'm only going to say it because my daughter goes there.
All right.
You're right. You're right. But I'm not going to say whether
not say if it's good or bad.
I shan't. I can talk about rankings, though.
That's true. Okay.
And desirability.
All right.
Anyway, my daughter goes there. We love it. She loves it.
Shout out Mr. Lockhart. No.
All
right.
No idea.
My bad.
There are some teachers, though, that are stellar there.
Miss Winchell, killing it.
She's the best, man. School nurse. Mother Earth Gardens, like I mentioned, that's a great local place
nursery
for anything outdoor garden supply, including plants. On Minnehaha Avenue in Howe are some of the coolest antique shops and coffee shops from all cultures. It's just a complete cultural melting pot there on that part of Minnehaha Avenue, which is great.
Parkway Pizza, is that in the Howe?
Parkway Pizza is actually in the Hiawatha neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
But I love me some Parkway Pizza, so we'll have to talk about the Hiawatha neighborhood at some time.
There are a couple good Somali joints right down from Parkway Pizza, which I think would technically be the Howe neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly right. Yes.
God,
I can't think of the name of it.
I can't think of the name, but the owner of the one on the west side of Minnehaha is just the most delightful human being ever, man. Like just going in there, just
Somali burritos?
offering me coffee. I didn't know about Malawahi wraps at that point in time.
But you also have like All Square, but I think also
that place might be an Ethiopian place, not a Somali joint.
Okay.
But we are going to get to the bottom of the Somali burrito.
We for sure are going to get to the bottom of the Somali burrito on an episode.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah, it's just going to be all over my face. But what I really wanted to talk about with the Howe neighborhood is the Prince House. Now,
what is the Prince House?
The Prince House is located at 3420 Snelling Avenue. So just east of Hiawatha, but west of Minnehaha. Prince never lived there. It's not like a house he grew up in, but it is the house that is the base exterior shot for the movie Purple Rain.
Oh.
Which some of you...
I didn't know that.
Yes. He actually grew up in North Minneapolis on, I believe, Newton, and then he would spend time in South Minneapolis at his aunt's house. But no, this house he never lived at. It was purely used for the film, but it's kind of been a destination spot for tourists to take their picture in front of. And then shortly before he died, he paid cash for it. It was on the market. It was like $117,000 or something.
Okay.
He bought it, didn't do anything with it, had plans for it. Nobody knew what his plans were because he was famously coy and didn't really give too much away. But he dies tragically, as we all know. And then it was 2015 he purchased it for $117,000.
Yep.
Airbnb got involved with Wendy and Lisa. We all know Wendy and Lisa, right? They're members of The Revolution that were featured prominently on
all the hits.
Yeah, their voices are in the beginning of Computer Blue, which is a great song. Actually, probably one of the lesser songs on Purple Rain. But
I say all the hits, and you immediately go to the deepest of the deepest deep cut,
right? But I think that just shows you how it's one of the 10 best albums of all time. We're talking about Computer Blue being not great anyway, and it's still that good. But yeah, Wendy and Lisa got involved. It's owned by the Prince Estate now, but Airbnb.
They rent it out as like an experiential thing.
Yeah, so one of 11 experiential listings that they offer around the globe. It's only one of 11.
The Prince Estate, or are we talking Airbnb?
We're talking Airbnb.
Oh, okay. So the Prince Estate doesn't have 11 experiential Prince houses.
No, this is Airbnb all around the world.
That makes it even more unique, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. So back in early September of this year, 2024, Wendy and Lisa, well, let me backtrack. They basically gutted the house and turned it into a rental, like an Airbnb rental.
Sure.
But it's Prince to the max. Like they didn't spare a detail. They spent God knows how much money getting it. And like to the point where the basement is laid out like the kid's basement in the movie Purple Rain.
I was going to
say,
Prince
being the kid, where it's got purple velvet wallpaper. It's got a vintage 80s stereo preloaded with songs that inspired Prince. It's got his same basement bedroom replica from the movie, even down to the spray painted eyes behind the bed. If you've seen the movie like I have a million times, you'll know what I'm talking about. And then Casey will put up photos.
I will. So I never knew this existed. I would imagine a lot of people didn't know this existed. My good friend, old sort of homegirl, Andrea, we called her Ricky Lake because she looked like Ricky Lake.
Kids today don't know who Ricky Lake is. That's okay.
But
look it up.
She is, I would venture to say, I don't know any bigger Prince fan than her.
Really?
She is the biggest Prince fan in the world. She came up here a couple years ago. I would imagine she does, but she came up here a couple years ago, did the Paisley Park thing.
After he died.
It was like her Hajj to Mecca.
Sure.
This was her trip to Minneapolis, Minnetonka, whatever.
This is her religious experience.
Andrea, if you don't know about this, I'm going to cut this video for you and shout you out in this. If you don't know about this place, you got to make it happen with 3 of your friends.
Well, this is what I don't think she can.
Why? You said it's $7 a night.
It's $7 a night per person.
Yeah.
Do you know why it's $7 a night per person?
Because you have to pay $7,000 to rent it? Like,
No, because Prince's favorite number was 7.
oh, all right.
He has a song called 7. And
That's better,
anyway.
yes.
But so in addition to what I mentioned about the basement, there's a huge closet with Prince's most legendary outfits, like in glass, like his Purple Rain outfit, all of his famous outfits. And they, even bottles of water greet you as you enter. And the bottles are labeled Lake Minnetonka, which again is a Purple Rain reference. But so in early September, Wendy and Lisa offered 25 total one-night stays for up to 4 people between September 26th and December 14th, which is in 3 days.
Hold on. So this is, but what about next year?
Well,
this is not a yearly thing. They're just like,
No.
we're making it available for 3 months. That's it?
So
Lame.
in early September, when they announced this, they said, okay, we're going to have these 6 hours or whatever. And in these 6 hours, you can try to book your one night. And they allowed 25 random dates between September 26th and December 14th of this year. So that's gone. So you can't book.
Sure.
Those
so
went
it's not
quickly.
an Airbnb
It is.
anymore.
Well, after December 14th, that's a mystery. Like, what are we going to do?
Lame. Wendy and Lisa, you're listening. Clearly you're listening.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like,
Duh, they're listening.
Open it up.
Well, we don't
got
know.
people.
I think that is on the table. They have to do something with it. They're not just going to put all that money into
Like a
demoing and
museum.
renovating. What's that?
Just turn it into like a museum.
I don't know. I think it might maybe stay as an Airbnb, but we'll find out. I have a feeling Andrea Swenson, who is a local journalist and possibly the second biggest Prince fan ever, I actually reached out to her reached out to her directly to try to get her on this episode to talk about Prince because she's written books on Prince.
Sure.
And she's wrote the article in Minneapolis Saint Paul magazine with photos of which I am regurgitating facts from.
Sure.
She never got back to me, but I just said
She big timed you, bro.
Yeah, she big timed me.
She big timed
That's
you.
okay. I'm little time. But
The arc of history is long, my friend. And my
it
memory is
long.
like an elephant.
It is long. And then I feel like Andrea Swenson or somebody like that there'll be a local journalistic piece after December 14th where we get to find out, okay, what's the long-term plans
I
for
thought
this
you were going
house?
to say you feel like Andrea Swenson would do a local journalistic piece on us after December 14th. But
much later than December 14th, but it's happening.
2028.
Yeah, 2028.
Okay.
It'll happen.
Our 785th episode.
Yes. Yes. I also failed to mention there is a music lounge in the Prince house.
Okay.
There is a space that's activated by a secret door that Andrea Swenson checked out, but in the article she's like, I'm not going to give anything away. It's that impressive.
They should turn it into an escape room.
Prince escape room?
Yeah.
Where you have to answer Prince-related trivia to be
it's
able
already
to get
set
out?
up for it. It's already set up for it.
That's actually...
Seriously,
that's a good
idea.
idea.
Wendy, Lisa.
That's a good idea.
Hey. you gotta be watching the pod for that one.
Yep, you do. Yep, that's a visual medium. Yeah, so that was the driving impetus behind me wanting to talk about Howe at first, was because of the Prince house.
How'd you know about it?
Because I read the article, in September when it came out, when Andrea Swenson's article came out in Minneapolis Saint Paul magazine. I believe that was the publication, but I read it and I thought it was super cool. And then I was like, oh yeah, they're still doing the Airbnb thing.
Yeah.
So it would be really interesting to talk to a representative from one of the groups of 4 or whatever that did one of those 25 bookings to see what they thought of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
we can get the word out. If anybody out there in Podland knows anybody who knows anybody who spent a night at the Prince house, have them get in touch with us.
Yes,
we want a firsthand accounting.
We do. We want a firsthand account. How big of a Prince fan are you on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being your friend Andrea.
I'm a solid. Like a 6. Because so my Prince history doesn't go back as far as people that grew up here.
Yeah.
So
It's kinda like
I
your
first
issue.
knew Prince because my mom was like, that little red Corvette sure is a great tune, and he's so cute. Have you seen
Your
him
mom's
dance?
on the cutting edge of cool,
Yeah,
man.
she was like in the 80s, she was on it, right? And
Yeah.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what it was. Then I came to Minnesota, and in college in '96, Prince used to still throw those parties at Paisley Park. So freshman year, there was a party at Paisley Park. We all drove out there, and it was rumored if he would show, right? So you would
never
start.
knew.
Yeah, you'd start with 700-800 people.
Yeah.
Or 600 people, whatever
You'd
they
get there
would
at
let
like
in.
9 at night.
Yep.
And you wouldn't find shit
And
out until
by 3 a.m,
Yeah, right.
there were 50, 60 people left.
Yeah.
Well, I stayed.
Yeah.
And 3:30 in the morning, 4 to 4 in the morning, this dude pops up on stage and plays a concert to like 40 people.
And you were one of the 40?
And I was one of the 40. And at that moment, I simultaneously realized he could play the guitar like Jimi Hendrix, and he could sing like the greatest singer I had ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And he could drum like the greatest drummer.
Yeah.
Because he would just keep switching instruments. And from that point on, I was like blown away. And then luckily, later in my career, my producer, who was also named Prince, shout out Prince Board, he produced a woman named Nika Costa, who was Prince's goddaughter, or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I went back out there with Nika Costa and the band, and I got to play basketball on the court, which I assume Dave Chappelle was talking about in his house.
Yes.
And I saw another soundcheck
Charlie
concert
Murphy?
for like 15 people. So I've been there a couple times at Paisley Park to see Prince play to like a handful of people. And it's been pretty incredible. So I'm a huge fan musically from that point, but from like a cry and hold up posters standpoint, no. My daughter has posters in her room. She went through a huge Prince phase.
Yeah.
Went to Paisley Park for her birthday at one point. But musician-wise, hot take. We were talking about this the other night. Way better than Michael Jackson, in my opinion. In terms of
we haven't talked about
overall
this,
talent.
But I mean, I think it's like freaking Mozart, Stevie Wonder, and Prince.
I mean,
like that kind of.
That's not like a hot take because I believe, I believe that to be true. Like he was.
Yeah, but like they're like
so gifted.
In like, for instance, like Rolling Stone's top 100 guitarists of all time or something. Like he wasn't even in the top 100.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it's because they're stupid.
He's not only the best musician, arguably of all time.
Yeah.
He's arguably the best guitar player of all time. Yeah. Like you could definitely argue it.
You could argue it. You'd be wrong, but you could argue it.
I would argue it. So I'm like an 8 on this scale of 0 to 10. But I'm the opposite kind of 8 because I've never been to Paisley Park. I've never seen him perform.
Okay.
I came to him late in life, but I like previous episode, the male urge to rank things. I consistently am ranking in my mind like my top 5 Prince albums, and I've listened to every Prince album, and there are many of them, 100 times.
I mean, even beyond his albums, right? You think about the songs that he wrote that other people made famous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Nothing
Manic
Compares
Monday
to You.
and Nothing Compares to You.
I Can't
The
Make You
Rest.
Love Me. Bonnie Raitt. I can't make you love me.
I didn't know he wrote that.
I believe he did.
All right. Fact checkers.
We need to fact check it, but I think he wrote that.
Yeah.
Unless Dolly Parton wrote it and
One of the two.
Bonnie Raitt sang it.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, the guy was prolific at everything and an incredible writer, and just pretty crazy all around musical genius.
My current rankings, before we wrap this up, are Purple Rain, number 1.
Yep.
1999, number 2.
Okay.
Sign of the Times, number 3.
Okay.
Dirty Mind, number 4.
You just cycle. I couldn't even name before.
And Prince, self-titled album, number 5.
What's the one that had I Feel For You?
Like
his
that was
first joint.
Prince.
Yeah, that was good. That's a good
self-titled. Yeah, I think unless it was For You.
Disco, soul, funk.
Yeah. That was when he was really like he wrote For You was his first album.
Yeah,
he wrote. I mean, that came out when he was like 17.
That's
18.
what I was gonna say.
And then Prince was a self-titled that came out after, and that I think that had I Feel For You.
And if you talk to anybody in the city, like everybody's got a Prince story. We lived over north while we were kind of doing our house, and my neighbor over north played in. He's like, come check out my basement. And I was like, oh, what's going on in here, Gary? And he's got a whole recording studio set up with synths and everything else. He's like, yeah, I used to play keys in a band with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and Lil Prince. That, you know what I mean? Like, people have their stories all over the place,
You're right. You're kind of issued a bit of Prince fandom when you were raised here. And then...
Jelly Bean Johnson? So he was Prince's bass player for a little while.
Yeah.
So this dude, we were looking at wedding venues, and so we were at Bunkers one night, or looking for wedding bands. We were at Bunkers one night,
great venue.
Which was Dr. Mama's Combo was playing
every Sunday night, right?
Who played my wedding? Ultimately, the combo is who played my wedding. Michael Bland, who played with
Julius?
Prince.
Julius Collins? Was he?
Greg, I don't know who Julius Collins is. I know Greg, G-Eazy, and Michael Bland.
Yeah, Greg.
But Jelly Bean Johnson rolls in a black head-to-toe fur outfit with like two women on either arm, right? And we're just
like me on a Saturday night
oh my God, man, this dude they're still in the throes of their 80s heyday. So then the next night, right, that was a Friday night. The next night, we head over to the Minnesota Music Cafe to see another really cool band that we were thinking about, right? And Minnesota Music Cafe, I believe that's what it was called, is off of 94 in St. Paul, kind of over where Red Savoy's used to be, the original.
Oh, sure, just out of downtown.
And Jelly Bean Johnson shows up in the same goddamn outfit, but is white, with the same two girls dressed in the opposite colors from the night before of that thing. There's just like
unbelievable. It's
lore, still strong.
The lore surrounding
the aura,
is
still strong.
It's still strong. Definitely 100%. So,
I got something else in the Howe neighborhood.
Oh yeah, you do.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. You go.
So I want to talk about
Cook.
The Mississippi River Gorge regional park. And not something that a lot of people know about, but it's the only gorge within the Twin Cities metro area that was naturally formed when the St. Anthony Falls kind of moved their way from St. Paul over the ice ages, and it moved its way up the river to where St. Anthony Falls currently are now, which is right by Nicollet Island, which we talked about last week, where the falls collapsed and the Army Corps of Engineers paved over the whole thing, and it's kind of stuck now, right? So we've because of the lock and dam system on the Mississippi River,
yes, sir,
we've settled the river pretty much. It used to be a wild river with rapids and falls and everything else.
We have it under control now.
We have it under control.
Yes.
So as it moved its way up to Minneapolis, it left these gorges, which are super high limestone, rock formations that make up the Mississippi River Valley throughout the Twin Cities, right? And so you can go down on the Minneapolis side, and there are incredible hiking trails, walking trails, sandy beaches, and a lot of people go there not only for the nature, but some of the early sort of plant life that happens in the spring, and the migratory birds. There are over 180 species of birds that use the Mississippi Gorge Park and the flats there throughout the year. So it's a big bird watching community, big photography. There's an oak grove.
I didn't know any of this, man.
Yep.
Seriously.
Yep. So there's a oak savanna, which you don't see a lot around here in general. Like you don't just see oak savannas in the Twin Cities metro. You may get a couple oak trees here and there, but not just like wide swaths of oak trees and covering the forest, lots of wildflowers. So it's a really cool place.
And it's all like geological time changing movements.
Yeah, all created by the movement of the falls up the river basin. And there's a big Friends of the Mississippi River, which was started in the Longfellow neighborhood, just a community group, does a lot of work down there to preserve and take care of and make sure that park in particular with its walking trails is well maintained because of how many birds and migration patterns kind of go through the Mississippi River Valley. And the cool thing about it is, again, like I like these little places where you can just get away within a 5-10 minute bike ride or walking or whatever, where you go down, a couple hundred stairs or down these winding paths and you're no longer in the city.
Yep.
Right? You're in an old growth oak forest with wildflowers that you don't see anywhere else, with one of the nation's most storied rivers running through the middle of it.
And you would never even know it's there because I bike, like my family and I bike up and down River Road right there.
So where on River Road, like right around 38th to 36th Street, River Road stops going south and it turns.
Yes,
and it goes west
I do.
And then it turns again and it goes back east.
I do.
So that is like the crux of the Gorge Park there. That's the area where you can park right there in that little outcropping as you come around the curve.
Hot
head
damn.
down. So that's what I got
cool
about the Howe neighborhood, because I love that little place and it's such a cool, again, hidden gem that a lot of people don't know about, where you can just get away and get out of the city feel, but you're right there.
10 minutes from everything.
10 minutes from everywhere. All right. Shout out Cindy Lou Who.
and her
husband and her neighborhood.
That's right.
Okay. Real estate. Do you want to talk about real estate yet? That was the longest neighborhood watch.
That was the longest neighborhood watch we've ever done, but that's okay. We'll keep this brief with the theme of brevity running through, but never being achieved. The topic this week, we are going to talk about how to maximize the selling price of your home. Updates that matter.
Here's my number one. Sell it in the spring.
Yep, as talked about on a previous episode. Yep. You're going to get colors that way. You're going to get walkways and beautiful yards, and you'll see the garage and the lawns and the landscaping and the mulch and the
on
curb
average,
appeal.
7 to 10% more.
That's right.
Yep. But beyond that, there are a lot of things you can.
And faster.
That's true. That's true. To what, 20, 29 days on market to about 12, 13?
Yeah, I think that's right, yeah.
And there are a lot of things you can do, and I'll let you get into your list. My number one, because I just had a listing appointment where the woman has a beautiful craftsman house. Just gorgeous. She did a great job maintaining it. Just light-filled, amazing, right? But she's got a third-story attic that has all of the insulation done and electrical run to the attic. But it's exposed eaves and rafters.
It's not finished square feet.
It's not finished square foot. Yeah, square feet. But there's probably 450 square feet up there. And in my mind, one of the biggest things she could do to maximize the selling price of her house is you could put $10,000 in, and I'm
generalizing.
I'm generalizing, but I'm also like educated guessing here.
Sure.
You throw some insulation bats, vapor barrier, and some drywall, mud and tape, put some carpet down, and now you have an electric baseboard heating, and now you have a finished attic space that is adding 450 square feet to your bottom line. And let's just say that's at $220 a square foot.
It's like $100,000.
That's like $100,000. You've just invested 10 to get a $90,000 return on that investment. And
even if it's $108 conservatively, even if it's like $180 a square foot,
even if it costs you $20 to do,
you're still making $50,000.
Yeah. And so the biggest thing that I look for are, can we find ways to add square footage to this property with minimal work? And I don't want to, we don't talk about our brokerage too much, but our brokerage does offer a program where the brokerage, we will find the contractors, have the contractors front the money for the work, and then I don't believe there's a percentage taken off the back end for interest.
Nope.
But we just recoup that money at closing. So it's like if you're working with Andy or I, and this is something that Andrew and I, and it's something you're into, like we can take care of all that, and there's no There's no out of pocket
if you don't want to spend a lot of cash, or if you don't have a lot of cash on hand, yeah, Casey's right. You can get the work done before you list, and you don't have to pay for it. The cost, you do have to pay for it. The costs come out at closing, and they're all vetted.
Yep.
Angie's List vetted contractors that will do the work.
Or you can use, like, I have my own contractors. I can get them in the program, right? People that I trust.
Yes.
And I guess the main crux of that point for me is, like, you can tell somebody, well, attic is unfinished, blank slate could be an awesome kid space, right?
Yeah.
That's not the same as finished square footage with carpet. It is a blank space.
Yes.
Here's the money. Now, don't worry about all the stuff that makes you nervous about drywall and everything else. Put some pictures up, throw some furniture in there, and it is a cute kid space. You don't have to imagine it as such.
That's one of my, I couldn't agree more. Like, we are in full agreement there.
So that's my number one.
Yeah, adding finished square feet if you can. It's all a cost-benefit analysis, and in that sense, in that example, the math is mathin'.
Yeah.
And it just makes sense to do.
Yeah.
If you want to do something easy and cheap, coat of paint is cheap and goes a long way.
Yeah, it does.
Landscaping is cheap and goes a long way. These are things that statistically will get you more money than if you didn't do them.
Yep.
You can do cost-benefit analysis-wise. You can do a lot of stuff. You can add, if you have old windows, you can put brand new windows in your house, and it will help.
Yep.
But you statistically are only going to recoup about 68% of what you paid for the windows with what you get back with net proceeds from the sale of your home. Things like garage doors, for some reason, are huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you replace an old garage door, you get over 100% ROI.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff.
Flooring overlays, I would say. So, like,
I think so.
You got terrible old kitchen linoleum floor.
Yeah.
Get some click and lock luxury vinyl.
Yeah.
Throw it down.
LVP.
That's a day's work, and now you've modernized your kitchen with a fresh coat of paint and some cool flooring. You don't have to worry about a full kitchen gut and remodel, because you may do that kitchen remodel and it may bring extra value to your house.
And it will.
But at the same time, a lot of people like to put their, there are obviously styles that people want to walk into and say, this is my dream kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, everybody likes to put their own personal stamp on things. And if you don't want to spend all that kind of money, there's some simple, easy, paint, some of the flooring, lighting. I hate to say that, but lighting is huge. If you all have daylight bulbs in your house and they're CFLs and they take 12 minutes to warm up and it's a spaceship slowly loading.
Yeah.
Like, go get some LEDs that are either warm white or bright daylight, whatever the vibe is in the place. Replace the lighting, because just those little things make a huge difference. My mom was a party planner, right? She was a speech therapist and a party planner. And so
an early Prince fan.
And she wanted to do our wedding. And this is the quote that sticks with me. Lighting is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Uplighting is everything. This studio, it's a pile of trash. I just have great lighting.
I mean, we look great, but imagine how much greater we would look.
Well, you want to change. Hey, Alexa, turn the studio lights magenta. Lighting is everything, man.
We didn't even plan that.
No. Alexa, turn the studio lights bright white.
For the 90% of you that aren't watching this,
that was an odd
really
episode.
Cool.
Alexa, turn the studio lights soft white. But lighting does make a big difference.
Lighting makes a huge difference. Yeah, these are all like little relatively inexpensive things. And like I always say, curb appeal, man. Like I said this before, you eat with your eyes before you taste the food. Like that's why presentation matters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how a good way to sell your home faster and for more is to landscape it and make it really pop when somebody pulls up. It's a tale as old as time, but it's very true.
Something even easier than any of this stuff is decluttering and depersonalizing. Right?
100%.
You don't realize when you own a home how much stuff that you accumulate over the years, right? And even when you think that you've decluttered it, you have like a lot of people haven't, right? So get a pod. and put stuff in the pod. They'll deliver it to your new house afterwards. Just break it down to the bare minimum. Not only is it going to be easier for you to maintain for showings or anything else, but you're going to sell the house quicker and for more money, which means you can get back to your life at wherever your next chapter is, rather than having to go through multiple showings. Even if you love the decor, even if you think the bookshelves look great, stuffed with family photos.
Yeah, people don't, your kids are great, but you're trying to create the illusion, the romance of living in your house. Yes. People can't do that with your kids' pictures on the walls. Yeah. I mean, I always say in an ideal world, you get the hell out of the house, move out, get it professionally cleaned, get it professionally staged, and there you go. But that is an impossibility for everybody.
That's not.
I mean, that's the dream.
Yes.
And that's also expensive to hire professional cleaners and to hire a staging company and do all that. So, like Casey said, when you can't do that, when you still live in your house, when you're selling it, the best thing you can do is, when you think you've decluttered and depersonalized enough,
talk to your realtor.
Run another lap around, because you're going to probably want to do it more.
And get a second set of eyeballs, right? Like, again, that's what we're here for, right? Yes. To walk in and be like, looks great, Eddie. Yes. But we need to, maybe remove some of this stuff, maybe take some of the storage out of the basement, and now we can stage that storage area in the basement because it's a cute, open, bright room or whatever with a rug, and now it becomes a secondary little kids' living area. So there are things you can do to beyond just store your stuff.
And that's why, like Casey said, a good realtor is a good second set of eyes for things like lighting or decluttering, or curb appeal or whatever, what have you.
Yeah.
Realtors like us.
Yeah. And who are we?
We are Golden Shield. We're not there yet.
It's not official yet.
No, it's not official.
But obviously, if you do,
we are realtors.
This is what we do. This is what we are experts in. It's what we love doing.
Yes.
That's why we get together and talk about it on a podcast every week.
Yes.
So if you are in the market, you're going to be in the market. If you're looking to just kick tires or bounce ideas off people, like literally, it's.
Or if anybody you know.
It's what we're here for.
If anybody you know fits that description, thinking of buying or selling anytime.
Yep.
In the next X amount of days, months, weeks, years. Hit us up at thismustbetheplacepod@gmail.com or 612-234
1889.
That's right.
Yeah.
What else we got?
I think that's it, man. You get a little BooMTimeS this week, or?
Welcome to BooMTimeS, a segment called BooMTimeS.
I got some BooMTimeS.
You do have
I've got some
stuff?
brief BooMTimeS. I wanted first to talk about a podcast called 5 to 4. 5-4.
Okay.
It's a podcast about why the Supreme Court sucks, is what they say, and it's hosted by 3 lawyers, and they're super smart lawyers, and they're the good kind of lawyers, and they're intelligent and they're funny, and the most recent, it's been
now
around.
I get the 5 to 4 reference.
Correct.
Yes.
Because there's 9 Supreme Court.
Yes. Okay.
Judges, and it's really well done. In every episode, they talk about a different case that has impacted the United States, mostly negatively, aka why the Supreme Court has historically sucked.
And this is historically, right? To be clear, this is not like the Supreme Court currently sucks, or is it like throughout the history of?
No, they're saying it has always sucked.
Okay. Yeah.
With they do a critical eye, but they do a different. They talk about a different case every week. Okay. And they've been doing this for years, and I'm just getting hip to it. But this past episode, they talked about this case about Illinois versus Wardlow, which is essentially this case of, in 1995, this guy in Chicago was minding his own business in a high crime area, and the police start driving down the street. It's a 4 police car caravan, and this dude takes off.
Okay.
He just runs. And the whole case, he eventually runs back into them. The police get out. They actually find a bag on his person with a gun, and they arrest him, and it goes to local courts. state court, state Supreme Court, and ultimately to the United States Supreme Court. Super interesting case. William Rehnquist was in. This was heard in year 2000. William Rehnquist was the Supreme Court judge, noted segregationist, by the way, was the one that gave the deciding opinion, and it was a 5-4 vote as to why what he did was illegal, and it went right.
Why running was illegal?
Right.
What if he's like just now it was like, it's time for my run, man?
Exactly. And not only that, they based this whole, I mean, this is so interesting to me. They based almost the entire crux of the case on, well, it was a high crime neighborhood.
So what?
Right, because then basically what these people in this 5-4 podcast, these lawyers are saying, how stupid the Supreme Court is. So you're saying your civil liberties depend on your geography. It depends on where you are currently.
Sure.
Which makes no sense.
Yeah.
He could have had a bad experience with police in the past and just ran away because he didn't want to deal with it. But the Supreme Court said because of the cops had a hunch, that was enough to.
Man, Dukes of Hazzard's always ran from the law.
See, there you go. There you go.
That didn't matter.
Anyway, that's a great podcast. 5-4, 5-4. It's funny and it's briefer than our podcast.
Most are.
Most are. And I mean, every week is just revelatory how insane the Supreme Court has historically been and continues to be.
Yes.
What do you got?
I haven't, only thing I've done this week is basketball. Basketball.
One of my favorite things.
But I will talk about Kendrick Lamar's GNX.
Are you back on or are you still out?
I am firmly in the it is mid camp.
Yeah. Mid for him. I mean, it's still probably better than most rap albums.
Maybe.
It's probably in the top. Whatever.
It's cool.
It's not for you.
It's fine. Grant, I'm not clearly his target audience. Maybe I am.
It's not for me.
I love Kendrick Lamar.
I know you do.
I think he's incredible.
I do too.
So this is not a case of haterade, but it just wasn't for me. I'm not the kind of person who digs into the lyrics and finds obscure references that like you have to think about too hard. Maybe it's on that level and it's past my head.
Yeah.
But from a listen standpoint, I'm just like, not my kind of, not my jam, not something I'm gonna listen to over and over.
I agree. I listened to the whole thing, and I tend to agree with you. I think, and that's fine, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
Not everybody can create everything for everybody all the time.
And forever. I mean, how many musicians still have their fastball when they're in their, what is he, in his late 30s?
Nas lost his fastball. And then he got it back.
Yeah, but not to the point of as good as Illmatic. But that's a conversation for another day. But yes. But very few people are still making important, amazing, listenable, artistic music for 20 years. Like, it just doesn't happen.
Sure.
But, whatever. He's still great.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I have to talk about for BooMTimeS is music as well. Just go ahead.
Somebody Somewhere.
Yeah, the TV show.
It got canceled.
Ooh.
So I think this season is the last season. I haven't seen the last episode.
Okay. I was going to say, are they going to tie a bow on?
They've been writing every season as if it were going to be the last one anyway.
Yeah.
But it's a shame because it is a great show, and I think slowly people were sort of turning on to it. But it had its 3-season run, I believe. And
it's a good run.
And it's still worth checking out. And especially now that it's done.
It's still on my list. I mean, it's going to have to wait till after basketball season because I don't have time. But because I watch too many dumb basketball games at 9:45 at night.
Oh, Karl Anthony Towns is playing his ass off, bro.
Oh, he is. He did here too.
He has like a renewed energy and attitude. Like, he was kind of a whiny little bitch here.
Yes.
In New York, he looks like he's like,
he does. You're right.
Like on a prove everybody wrong tour.
Yeah.
And
he's on a vengeance tour.
Because, and again, I'm not watching enough to know if the dumb things are there with the great things, but I'm seeing a lot of great things, a lot of great passing, and I think it helps to play with a guy like Brunson over Ant, and that's not a knock on Ant.
No, they're two different kinds of
Brunson
players.
is a point guard, a true point guard who can get you 30 points.
Yes.
But doesn't care if he gets you 15 and makes all the right plays. And I think Cat has been excelling there.
He has, and I'm happy for him, but I will also just say it's December.
I
Let's
understand.
wait till the playoffs.
But it is also the sting of knowing that we have Rudy, a.k.a. RFK Jr.
He loves RFK Jr.
Gobert. Just the worst. Like, he's got to be the worst person in the league, let alone the most whiniest. Like I swear to God,
Luka's whinier than him.
I hate Draymond Green.
Yeah, I do too.
But I root for Draymond in the Draymond Rudy. That's how much I dislike Rudy.
And Rudy owns Draymond, which is ironic because
Rudy got dunked on for game the other night from Draymond.
Yeah, but we kicked their ass.
No, he lost that game.
Oh, the first game,
yes.
We kicked their ass, yeah.
I mean, the Wolves look like they're slowly turning around and they're going to find
they've
themselves.
won 4 of 5.
Yes.
We'll see. Their defense looks legit.
I have nothing to talk about so far with my Sixers, but like the Wolves look like they're figuring it out and putting it together, and I hope they do.
Still a disappointing start.
Yeah, sure, but there's time.
There's time.
Like you said, it's December.
So my other boom times is just music. I've just been noticing because I live in a household with a 12-year-old girl and also my wife who are both obsessed with this kind of music. But female pop music right now is having a moment, man.
For sure.
Like we got tickets to Charlie XCX who's coming here to play at Target Center.
Yep.
And this is very much anecdotal because I live this life. But I mean, you and I are old enough. We've lived through eras of female pop singers.
Sure.
And there's always been good ones.
Sure.
But right now, I mean, sure, you've got Taylor Swift and Beyonce.
Sure.
They're the top of the mountain. But I mean, in my house, I've got Chappell Rowan.
Mm-hmm.
I've got Olivia Rodrigo.
Yep.
I've got SZA.
Yep.
I've got Sabrina Carpenter.
Yep.
I've got Charlie XCX. Yep. All on rotation, and it's all good.
And you left out Billie Eilish.
That's not on rotation in my house.
That's sad because she's ridiculous.
Is she good?
She's so
that
good.
Song she sang for the Barbie soundtrack and played at the Grammys, I was like, my ears are bleeding. You're
nuts,
awful.
Man. You're nuts. It was the perfect moment for that movie. It was everything that particular scene needed.
I hated that song.
So you're definitely not the target audience, you misogynistic bastard.
And on that note,
see you next week.
See you next week.
This must be the place. Yeah, this must be the place. Ain't no time to waste. Ain't no time to waste. So whether you in Minneapolis or St. Paul, Bloomington to Maple Grove, from the east side to the west side, down south to way up north, let me hear you say, this must be the place. Yeah, this must be the place.